It's the bye week, trade deadline over, and the New York Giants did not do a thing.
New York Yankees.
The New York Yankees. The New York
They
Yankees
ain't
didn't
do
do
nothing
nothing
either, to be
either.
fair.
Yeah, yeah. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Breaking Tackles. Is the New York Giants podcast alongside with Mike, alongside with Nunu. I'm your host Antonio. Guys, what's going on? How are ya? Trade deadline just passed away. This is what we're gonna talk about mostly. Um, what's going on? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling about the Giants on the bye?
Feeling good.
I feel
Uh,
good.
Feeling good, feeling good.
I feel
I
good,
like it.
man.
I like it.
I feel good, man. I'm gonna take it. We're 6-2,
Yeah.
right? I think they've exceeded my expectations to the bye thus far.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I didn't expect them to be 6-2 by the bye.
Right.
I was thinking that by after 8 weeks, we probably looking at best 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
So to come
Mm-hmm.
out of that with the 6-2 record is a pretty good start, and you're happy to see that the team is playing well and they're doing the things they need to do.
Absolutely. Nuno, what about you? How do you feel about just us entering the bye at 6-2 before we even get about the trade talks?
um, pleasantly surprised is the phrase I'll use.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mike, I did not expect us to start the season off the way that we did. Um, Not disappointed about it, of course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't want to be accused of being a fake fan, if you will.
Right.
But
that word that gets thrown around a lot.
yeah, I'm happy. Very pleased with the honestly speaking, and not to jump to, but the thing I'm happiest about, honestly, is Joe Shane and Brian Dable and Wink Martindale.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, and we could automatically get into trade talks. And I want to say just what's going on to everybody who's watching us on the YouTube. Um, Randy, uh, um, Zero, um, what Kevin, what's going on to all y'all, man? Thank you for coming through. Thank you for being here for a little bit of time with us. Let's get right to it in terms of Joe Shane. Listen, to me, Joe Shane is having a hell of a season. Um, the guys that he needed to cut, that I wanted him to get rid of, kind of sort of thing, and for cap reasons or just inefficiency, he got rid of those guys. He added a lot of guys that maybe not not in the draft that I wanted necessarily, but kind of addressed the positions that I liked. And also, and I'll say this: back when me and Manny were talking about draft talk, and Manny was really on top of the draft stuff, there was a lot of guys that he brought in that Manny wanted to be brought in this team. So I'm gonna give him shout outs to that and how just he's handled the season in terms of picking up street guys. And let's talk about this. Who has a wicked echo? Do I have a wicked echo? Do I have the show on live? Did any of you guys have the podcast on the YouTube page or anything like that? If y'all do, go mute it.
Nah, I don't.
Okay, Mike, you don't have it, right? Um,
I'll check for you though. Hold on.
yeah, if you have it, okay, maybe. All right, I'm still having mic problems, guys, so bear with me, and I apologize if it's definitely my mic probably doing that. Um, anyhow, he's even the guys that he brought off the street has been pretty good. Stat Sal Stan, what's going on? And now in the trade deadline over here, he has now completely just done nothing. And that's what we're gonna kind of lead it off right now. Nunu, I know that you was in favor of him not doing anything for this trade deadline, but just talk to me a little bit about, why do you think that was a good move?
Um, because whether we're 6-2 or 2-6, this is still a rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
I think main reason number one that I didn't want him to give up anything for anyone is because number one, the only quarterback on your roster for next season is Tyrod Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know what position you're going to be in come into season, what you're going to need to do with your draft picks in order to maneuver. If you need to get a quarterback or anything, any holes you need to, any positions you need to fill on your roster. So I would much rather, hold on to those picks for the off season than to spend it on the guy like Jerry Judy, who has like a 53% catch rate. like, or a Brandon Cooks who has a $18 million salary due next year. Guys who, whether we want to accept it or not, we're not gonna make us a Super Bowl contender.
Absolutely.
So I'm more than happy to just hold on to those picks and let's cook in the offseason.
Is there anything that you would have wanted to see besides wide receiver? Is there anything that you would have been like, okay, I'm okay with that, or you wanted to stay put no matter what?
I was staying put no matter what. I'll tell you this, honestly. If he would have made that deal that the Jaguars made for Calvin Ridley, I wouldn't have been mad at that. That's something I wouldn't have been mad at. But that was probably like the only thing.
You don't think that was a lot? They gave up a lot for him? It was 2 picks, and one of them could be all the way up to a second rounder.
Could be a second rounder, or it's a fourth. But that's so I take that back. I wouldn't have been okay with it, but I understand why Jacksonville did it because they have their quarterback.
Correct.
That's the type of move you can make when you have your quarterback.
I agree with that 100%.
So it makes sense for them.
Okay. Yep. 100%. I agree with Mike. What's good with you, man? Like, tell me again. I know that you also were okay with Shane not making a move, but why you wouldn't want to see a move?
So I think Shane, I'm paraphrasing what he said earlier, but he made the remark of there's games that we won, but if you're down at 1 point 17-3, in those games, we came back and won, but there's a reason we're down 17-3 at 1 point in the game, right? And I think that kind of puts things a little bit more into perspective. He's looking at it and saying, okay, the end result was the win, but how we got the result it matters, right? Context matters, right? So, our fan base does a lot of the, and on any given Sunday, you could win the game. And it's true. You can win the game, right? It happens. Lamar gets a freak bad snap and then scrambles and throws a pick and puts you in scoring range, right? And you capitalize on that. So there are things that are going to happen for sure because that's just the way football is. But what I got from Shane today is that his bar for what he expects is he expects excellence, right? So being good is not good enough, right? You need to be excellent in every facet, right? So his bar is really high. And right now, Giants fans' bar is mediocre. And they are dead set on, you know what, if we go 9-8 and we make the playoffs as a wild card, we got to bring Jones back and we got to bring this one back and we got to keep building on it because, that's what you do because next year we add pieces, we're going to be better. And this guy's sitting there telling you like, nah, man, like we're 6-2. Awesome, but like when we get into arguments in spaces or anywhere else where it's, what are you saying, that the wins are fluky? That right. Your own GM just gave you context. Like just because we won the game, we were down 17-3. So statistically, the odds of us winning that game weren't great. So the coaching staff did a great job in piecing it together, and the other team made the mistakes, and we capitalized on it, and the end result was a win, and it feels good to win. But we need to be in a better position because we should never be in a position where we're down 17-3. And that's basically, like, you look at Buffalo. Buffalo ain't never down 17-3. And again, like, that don't happen to them, right? So this guy's got a high bar. He's got a good understanding of positional value. And when people are like, oh, well, the picks, like, what makes you think he's going to use all 11 picks?
Right.
Like, he's not going to. First off, the Giants won't even have enough, even with the cap space we're going to have next year. They're not going to have the money to go and have 11 rookies come in and pay 11 rookies in the free agent pool and eat that much up. So he's going to use those picks to package to move up.
I thought he had
to get better quality
so
players.
Not 11.
Well, you're going to get 2 comp picks.
Okay.
And 2 comp picks, so that's going to put you at 11. But the main thing being is that you don't need to be married to the pick, right? Dave Gettleman and the Giants historically, their draft philosophy is if I'm picking 8th, I'm picking 8th. Mm-hmm. I don't move up, I don't move down, right? The only time they moved up, the only time I've seen them move up was to get Eli,
Mhm.
right? Where they actually made the move up to get Eli.
Right.
They allow teams for years to jump them in the draft repeatedly, right, to get guys because they just didn't want to move up because they didn't want to give up the latter round picks to move up to get the guy that they really wanted. And the only other time prior to this trade down that I can recall where they, there was a trade down was when they traded down with the Steelers back in the mid 2000s when they brought in Kiwanuka. They made a trade down with the Steelers where, the Steelers came up to get Santonio Holmes was the move,
Mhm.
and the Giants moved down to the last pick in the draft, and they took Kiwanuka instead with already having a loaded pass rusher field. They took Kiwanuka anyway.
Independent, real quick, independent. I think the two comp picks are for Ingram and then the guy that went to the Falcons, I believe, right?
Deion
John
Crossing.
Crossing.
Oh, okay, Carson. Okay.
Jinx.
Do we get a comp for the outside linebacker that's in the Falcons right now?
No,
Nah.
Okay.
the free agent for Glowinski will offset that based on the comp formula. So
Copy.
bringing in Glowinski will offset that.
Okay.
But to round it, like as far as what Shane goes today, what I was glad the guy understands positional value.
Mm-hmm,
He
mm-hmm.
gets it, right? So they have a set plan. They have a dollar amount allotted to a position group.
I love how
We're
he
not
talks
gonna
about that. He talks.
We're not going to pay. I have a set dollar amount. I know what I want to spend on that position group,
Correct.
right? And if you notice what he said today when they talked, because you see the Jones stands running away with it right now about how like he talked about extensions, right? They're not going to Daniel Jones this week and offering him an extension, right? Because
I mean, he's said it's only been 8 weeks with Jones. Like when he's
Right.
specifically been about Jones, he says it's only been 8 weeks in, and we got more games to evaluate him. And then when he's talking about in general, he'll mention that he might get somebody signed by Monday. So, I mean, again, I get it. It's open to interpretation, and everybody can make something out of it, and everybody's gonna make it so it can fit their agenda.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna with Shane, because Shane went on a PR tour this week. I'm just gonna wait and see with Shane. I'm not gonna say it's.
Can we just talk about how refreshing it is, though, Antonio, that we have a GM that at mid-season into the bye is actually speaking to people,
Yeah,
and not ignoring everybody like he's
even if it's
sitting
nothing.
on high that he can't make a mistake and he knows better than everybody else, and how dare you question what I'm doing and everything else under the sun. Like, this guy's at least out having conversations. He's he's a fun guy to listen to. He's energetic. Like it's just a complete breath of fresh air for this organization. It really is.
Randy, let me ask you a question. And Randy is talking about. He said, "I know it's extremely early and we don't have a draft for it yet, but do you think Joe Schoen is gonna move up and grab the QB Anthony Richardson?" Hey, and Stan said, yes, Randy, yes. Okay, so I heard. I don't know if Randy, you was in that spaces where they were talking to Anthony Richardson's manager, and just because I don't want to touch base too much on that, whatever. We don't know. I mean, listen, I think that we shouldn't worry about the draft when our season is over, or when we're eliminated from playoffs, or when we get eliminated from contention. And listen, Anthony Richardson is the guy that's physically gifted in all kinds of ways, and pause, but at the end of the day, you just don't know when draft season comes who's going to be that quarterback that's going to stand up above everybody else. Could be Richardson, could be somebody else. Like, again, we just also, there's guys that come out of like D1 AA or whatever the hell shit is, FBS, FCS, whatever, college football, whatever, is a second tier division or whatever. So let's just chill on that. Watch Anthony Richardson. Keep trying to root for him to get better. But let's just wait up a little bit and let's just see how this plays out.
Listen, can I just
tell Anthony?
Go ahead, Nuno, and then Mike.
It might not be Anthony Richardson, even though I pray it is, but he's moving up to get a quarterback. Maybe not that one, but I'm 95% confident in saying he's moving up to get a quarterback.
I agree. I'm on that boat kind of sort of thing. Mike, what you was gonna say?
Realistically, right now, man, we've got 9 weeks left after the bye week, right? And I
Yo, do you
really
care about this season at all? Let me ask you. Like
no,
I knew it.
no,
I
not
knew
at
it.
all, not at all. I mean, I said it before
You
the
don't
year
care. We
started. I
made
was like,
playoffs. We don't
I
care
was like,
about
yo,
that.
if I could Madden sim this season to just get to the next off season, I would gladly do it just to avoid all the bullshit that we've had to listen to,
Right.
over the last several weeks. But the way I view it is
That's
we got
true.
9 weeks. We got 9 weeks left. I'm enjoying the fact that we're gonna have meaningful football on Thanksgiving,
Right.
right? Where I don't feel like I'm watching, Thanksgiving and then being like, oh man, the Giants are on this weekend and they suck. I don't want to have to watch like we're not going to be there.
I think last time we was in Thanksgiving was in against Denver, right? Correct. That
Yeah,
we
we got
played
our asses kicked in
and we got our
Denver.
asses
Yep,
kicked. Okay.
yep, yep. That we did. Actually, no. I think the last time we were in Denver was it the Orleans Darkwa game. We lost that game. We may
I
have
think
won
we
that
did
game.
lose in Thanksgiving last time. I just remember it was Denver. I don't remember much after that
Yeah, I
though.
remember Orleans Darkwa having a big game. I can't remember if it was a Thanksgiving game or a different game against
I think
Denver.
that was like a Monday night game where Orleans Darkwa went off and we upset them.
Daniel Jones
I
has a curse of the prime game still, so he hasn't won in prime time yet.
we haven't played Dallas on Thanksgiving since like the '90s.
Hmm
Like
Bro, I
it,
probably
it's
wasn't even born the last time we did that.
nah. It was like the most, and to be clear, the most memorable Thanksgiving game I have was still when Miami played Dallas in Dallas and it snowed in Dallas and look, most wild game ever. It was like '95. It was fucking insane when that game happened. But um, you go back right now and we're gonna have some meaningful football to play in November, entering
Right.
in December, right? Um, I don't. I suspect that they should beat Houston. I think it'll be a closer game than what fans want to acknowledge. But I think they should beat Houston. Then they're going to have really, for me, the toughest stretch of their season starts November 20th, starting with Detroit,
hmm
and then you've got 4 consecutive division games thereafter. That is going to be the roughest stretch for them this year. Is going to be that 5 game stint
I
where you've
agree.
got Detroit, Dallas on short rest, Washington,
Washington now looks
Philly,
better with Heineke.
Washington again.
Yeah.
And I got news for you. If the owner's selling the team, mark my
Sal just cut off. I mean, the Mike just cut off on
was
us.
surprised.
I was gonna say it wasn't just me, was it?
Yeah, that Mike cut off on. Mike, let me know when you come back.
No, I had you. You froze. You just had your eyes closed.
It
I
was
didn't know
you.
what was.
It was you that close, bro.
That's wild.
Um. So we'll talk about the second half of the season. We'll brush on that real
Mhm.
quick. Let me just go bring it all back to Joe Shane and what I thought about Joe Shane and the trade deadline. Listen, people, it's so crazy how people get caught up with the drops that this team has, and the drops really is not a factor this year.
I shared that with you.
Yeah, listen, you shared it. I knew this. I've been looking at the things. Has there been big situation drops? Absolutely. Marcus Johnson, I think that's his name, dropped a pass that would have been a touchdown. I think we scored though in that drive regardless. But we have seen drops, but we've seen a lot of bad throws, and I don't want to touch base. So there's been a lot. Like again, listen, we have. I like what Joe Shane said. Do not go ahead and shop hungry. We are hungry for wide receivers, but you know what also happened? We traded away one of our top 3 receivers. Our other top 3 receiver was out for the year, injured on injured reserve, and the other one hasn't even stepped on the field. And Kenny Galladay, he's about to step on the field to buy. You can't. You. It's shit happens, right? You're a victim of that, right? So why are you going to now go to a restaurant or go shopping, right? Go to a supermarket hungry. Like yo, you just can't. You're gonna hurt yourself. That's a Dave Gettleman move. That's and he's been saying a lot like, hey, we're trying to address the present without like harming our future. I'm paraphrasing kind of sort of what he said. And this,
Exactly what he said.
I don't know. like, where has this man been? But but yo, by the way, it's not that this is like groundbreaking stuff. It's common sense stuff that we haven't had here. That's the kind of things that like yo, what why this is common sense. Like perfectly fine. No wide receiver that we was gonna bring in, like Nuno said, was gonna fix this team, was gonna make this team into Super Bowl. This team has holes on almost every single position, on the D line, on the linebackers, on the corners. So you bringing in a wide receiver, you might get more points in certain games or whatever, but overall it is what it is. Your quarterback is leaving a lot on the field as it is. He is also a problem along with his offense. Everybody in that offense has some type of blame to take. Barkley has drops. Um, the offensive line has had their issues. The wide receivers have had their issues. So just deal with it. There's still a lot of things that they can correct and they could get better this season. And I'm still very optimistic about this season. I just don't think that this is the season that we're gonna go have to go ahead and sacrifice anything because I want to see this team still again our our homegrown talent is under 60%. I want Joe Shane to bring that number over 60%, and then we could go ahead and we could start acting or pretending like we're contenders if that's the case. But it's not going to be this year. Um,
That's why Dallas is as good as they are. It's why Philly is.
Dallas is over. Dallas is the highest homegrown talent. They're at over 80% in terms of homegrown talent, and Philly is in the top five, I think, in homegrown talent. So you're right. Like those teams are doing it the right way. The Rams are third in homegrown talent, and you would think that they're giving away all those first round, second round picks, but they've built their teams to the draft, and that's what
But they
we have
hit.
to do
But they hit
on low
on
picks.
mid round picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And where and it's funny. Me and my father used to talk about this all the time. Your team is built. The backbone of your team is built on rounds 2 through 5. That is that is it. That is your team. The bulk of your team is 2 through 5.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't hit on picks in rounds 2 through 5, you can't build a team.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible to build a team. You have to be able to identify talent in those rounds and draft players in those rounds. And I would suspect that because of the way analytics have shaken out throughout the majority of the league, along with positional value, what you're going to see is a routine. Like, look at where we got Bellinger, right? Look where we got Bellinger. But look at where most of the tight ends got drafted this year.
It was around that same
tight ends. Yeah. Tight ends do not go early, right? And because a lot of the teams adhere to that philosophy,
elite. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But because a lot of teams adhere to that philosophy of that's not a great positional value need. So I'm not going to use a second round or a first round pick on that position unless the guy is head and shoulders above.
And again, that's perfectly. And I'm going to interrupt you, Mike. But even let's look at the Falcons, for example. They drafted an elite premier tight end in the first round, but they don't have a team set up around him, so he's useless over there. That's the kind of. I get exactly where you're going. Please continue.
But when you do that, you're going to get quality. You may not get an all pro back there, but you are going to get a good quality.
Who you might make look like an all pro though, like
because you're going to get him into your system.
Year type of tight end at least.
Exactly. You're going to coach them up. You're going to get them in your system, and my philosophy has always been, there are 4 positions that you should be looking to take early, and if you have a quarterback already, you can exclude quarterback. But the other 3 positions off the rip are either offensive tackle, edge rusher, it's edge rusher, corner, and then wide receiver. Those are the 4.
Yeah.
Right? And you could plug in your needs based on that, right?
If you have those positions on lock, then you could do whatever you want on the first round. Right?
I wouldn't, even if I had those positions on lock, I would keep drafting them early. I would never deviate.
Because you can never have enough.
I would never deviate from that. I would consistently first round. Even if I had 2 good corners, if there's no good edge player and there's not a great wide receiver that's on my board there, and it's another cornerback that's on the board there, I'm either trading, and if I can't trade, I'm just taking the corner. because you can never have enough good quality guys at those positions. You just can't, right?
You know
But I
was
will,
very. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
oh, go ahead, Nuno. Go ahead.
You know what's hilarious to me about the Bellinger point that you just made was I was in the spaces, and this was, I want to say, this might have been Tuesday, before, in the morning before the trade deadline, but we were discussing trading for a wide receiver, and someone said something along the lines of like, well, we don't have to give them up premium picks, but we can do a fourth or fifth rounder. To which I responded, I said, we drafted Daniel Bellinger in the fourth round. Would you rather have Daniel Bellinger, or would you rather have Terrace Marshall?
Big
Not
mic drop.
not
I remember that you said that.
not
I
to mention
remember
we
that.
also got Dane Belton. So you got your starting tight end and one of your starting safeties in the fourth round.
Mm-hmm.
And by the logic, we just give up a fourth round pick for a Terrace Marshall, a guy who has less career receiving yards than Darius Slayton has on the season.
Yes.
Like, no, you don't do that. That is still a premium pick to build your roster.
1000%.
I think a lot of the concerns were focusing on this trade deadline specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main concerns from a lot of the fan base that really wanted to see a wide receiver brought in has more to do about them wanting Daniel Jones to be the guy
than the Giants or the
them,
future of the Giants.
and because we discussed it ad nauseum, there is no one receiver that could be brought in this year, even if they could get, let's just say hypothetically they could have gotten their hands on a player like DK Metcalf or a player, just an elite, a top, let's say they could get their hands on a top 10 wide receiver, or like it was a Devontae Adams situation, right? And they brought that guy in here. That guy over the next 9 weeks is not changing the trajectory of the team where they're right, where the offense Jones, is all of a sudden going to go and explode. And all I heard people say is, well, we get a receiver like that, we're scoring 28 points per game. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Like, for you to average 28 points per game, especially like where we're averaging now at 20 points per game,
it all starts with number one.
They would have to start scoring 40 points a game to get to that average. That's like, I'm like, so what you're telling me is we're going to be a top 3 offensive unit down the stretch. We're going to be scoring 35, 40 points a game because we added one receiver.
You don't know much.
What's that?
I said, yeah, you didn't know.
Word, and it just kind of blew my mind, that this is what we were talking about. And you hear some of these guys going, well, we want to take advantage of a weak NFC. Okay, the NFC is weak. Do you think the Eagles are just going to roll over?
Yeah.
For you, or the Vikings are going to roll over for you? Like, what?
To add to that, okay, the NFC is weak, but in order to win a Super Bowl, you have to beat the AFC.
And not only that, you have to go through the guys that are not weak in the NFC too.
Like, I don't know. Fans just act like we'll never have an opportunity to be 6-2 again. And what's funny about that is the last time we won a Super Bowl, we were 9-7.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't even record-wise.
Yeah.
Record-wise, we weren't this good the last time we won a Super Bowl.
Somebody told me, somebody tweeted me like, what do you think Plax would have done? Like didn't Plax really help our team win the Super Bowl? And I was like, man, Plax can't help this team do shit. Like, there's Devontae Adams can't help.
That's my point. Devontae Adams is on a team who currently has 1 win.
Mm-hmm. That was
which, by the way, has significantly as much offensive talent on their roster with a guy with Darren Waller, with Adams, with Jacobs, with Brett. Like, that's a team that's got legitimate weapons at their disposal, and they can't win games.
Correct. Let me go real quick to the chats real quick before we keep going. Sal said, you may not want to talk about AR, but his people wanted to talk to us. I like it. Stan said, yeah, Antonio, I heard you go crazy on the fans. Kept saying drops out, drops. like corners don't get paid. Yo, and I get it. There's some websites that have the Giants in the top 5 in drops, but I don't know. You also have to watch out what some of these websites are. Um, I don't see the drops being a problem with the Giants. Yes, you could, look. I could go to different drop. I could go to different websites. I could go to NBC Sports and I see the Giants are top 5 in drops. I could go to Pro Football Reference and I see that the Giants are not killing us on the drops. When I'm looking again, if I see a guy that's getting Drake and a corner is on him and he drops the ball, I don't think that's a drop. I think that's a corner doing his damn job, and people just don't want to understand it. And again, I was watching. Listen, I was watching the 22 film. This Big Pat, shout out to him. He said that.
Don't shout at him. You stop it right now.
Shout out to him. Shout out to him. He said, wide receivers in this offense don't come back to help Jones when Jones is scrambling. And
oh, you're gonna ridicule his ass. Okay, go ahead. You can continue.
And Ash said, "You're absolutely wrong. Wide receivers are blocking for him because they know that they're not gonna get the ball. Because Daniel Jones, once he's rattled in the pocket, he looks to run. The evidence of that Seattle game, again, I'll get that to another team, is there. I watched the 22 film. Ash is 1,000% right. Shout out to Ash on that. When Daniel Jones got flustered, there was guys that are running towards him to help him while he's running, and when he's loose, Daniel Jones would not take those throws. Daniel Jones would try to run, and he would get whatever he can out of it. Sometimes it would be a sack for 0 yards or no gain, or it would be like a 2-3 yard gain, but he left the bigger play on the field. So shout outs to Sal on that one. And Big Pat, you were wrong on that, bro, because these wide receivers are looking to get hit with those while he's scrambling. They are doing scrambling drills, at least in that weekend. Listen, let's go real quick back to Joe Shane. Like, I this offseason for the Giants, right? He said that he wants to extend some guys, and if he is, he's gonna do it by Monday. I think he has no choice. I think he is gonna have to extend somebody because at the end of the day, IRs are gonna happen. We're gonna get guys on injured reserve, and he's gonna have no choice but to do it. If you had to pick one or two guys, Mike, I'll start with you. Who do you think gets an extension for this Monday?
Dexter Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence?
I think Dex gets it.
And that's your final answer. So you don't think one guy?
No, it's not the only. It's not the only guy. I think it's Lawrence though.
Okay.
I think they'd like to if they could, give Barkley an extension. I don't think it'll get done because I don't think Barkley.
Does it make financial sense though? To like.
Again, depends on the price, right? Because he already said, if you listen to him in his interviews, he already said that the franchise tag is a tool that's at our disposal, right? Mm-hmm. He said it earlier today. So it's possible they could try to negotiate something with his camp, and they could have a set number, and they can come to him and say, okay, we're willing to do this. And Barkley says no, and we can get to the offseason, and they just tag him anyway. So, it's possible. If you listen to the way
Barkley's at $7 million right now on the cap, they could go ahead extend him and make
lower. Right, they would lower the initial cap hit and then push it, right? So they could do that. They could do that. If you look up Dex real quick, where's Dex at with the cap?
I'll tell you right now with Dexter Lawrence. Dexter is at his cap hit right now is $4 million.
Yeah, so I mean it's not a huge cap hit, but I could see them
$2 million. So his base is 2.3.
Yeah, so they may not be looking for. They're not going to look for a big splash. Meaning, I don't think they're going to do anything. Where it's going to be a big extension. Like I don't think they're going to go to Adoree Jackson and give him an extension to try to lower his cap hit because I don't think they need that much money. I think they just want to have enough money to operate to get through the end of the season.
And I was just looking at Adoree. Adoree's 2022 right now is $1 million base, guaranteed $9 million, and his cap number is $9 million. But then
Yeah,
he
so
has
I
a
just
mess of a contract where next year is going to be 11 million, 19 on the cap, and then he has the void for 2024. A lot of these guys have void stuff. Is that what Gabe Gettleman did to mess up
and
his
where's
stuff?
McKinney? And where's McKinney at?
And then McKinney, I got you right now. Xavier McKinney is at 2 million with the cap of he's making half a million with a cap of 2.2.
So I wouldn't be shocked if the two players
Is
that get
Dexter
extended
and
are going to
McKinney?
be Dex and McKinney. I think he mentioned both of those guys early in his press conferences earlier in the day.
Isn't not to cut you off, but isn't this
Nope.
Xavier's third? This is his third season.
Let me see how many years he has left on.
So I
his
think you got to
contract.
wait to the end of this season to extend him.
He actually has one more year left with us.
Yeah, so this is his third season that he's currently in. So you gotta.
There's no fifth. There's no fifth. Year.
Yeah, so you
There's
gotta
no fifth.
wait until
So
the
we
end of the
can't
season.
we can't extend him this year. Oh no.
Nah, I think you have to wait until after the season. I think you gotta have 3 full seasons accrued before you can get the extension.
Makes
So
sense.
if that's the case, then I would still lean towards Dex.
We can't do Dex then also because Dex has
Yes, we
Nah,
can.
Dex is in his 4th season. He's in
Dex
fourth
in his
season.
4th season right now.
Oh, okay. So because he we have him for that 5th year option then, and that doesn't matter. We can still extend them. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say Dex. Is likely, and now hearing Matt, I wouldn't be shocked if they did something with Adoree. I think Adoree has played
Adoree makes a
unbelievably
lot
well.
of sense because of the cap.
I think Adoree's played unbelievably well in Wink's system. I think he's clearly been the best corner on the field for us. He's excelled in man coverage, excelled in it. You see, he's blanketing these guys all over the field. Is Julian Love also in year 3 or year 4?
No, this is his 4th season. He's a free agent. He's the guy.
Those may be the 3.
He's my answer, actually. You got to.
Yeah, those may be that may be the 3. It may be Love, Lawrence, and Adoree will probably be the 3.
Now Julian Love, in terms of finances, it doesn't help the finance. He's 2 million on the cap right now, and that's pretty much it. He's making he has a base salary of exactly that 2.5, and then he's a 2.5 on the cap, 2.7 on the cap.
Yeah, but if you think about it, if you do Dex and you do him, that probably is going to give you about $6 million to play with, and that may be enough to get you through
the rest of the season.
The end of the season,
and
to get you through the rest of the year.
To add to it, specifically for Julian, because I think we all agree, 9 times out of 10, that franchise tag is probably going to Saquon, because I don't think they get a deal worked out this week. So it makes more sense to try and lock up Julian now at a team player friendly price. So that's not something you have to worry about when the off season comes.
I think Julian will take whatever the hell Shane offers him. So
I don't think. No, believe it or not, I don't think any of these guys are just gonna take a contract to make Joe Shane happy. Julian Love has been playing very well this season. I mean, aside from that, Seattle last game, he was kind of up and down, but we just saw Keon Crossan get paid, so there will be a market for a Julian Love, a guy who can play multiple positions on the defense.
Right.
He's a captain, so he's a high character guy. So you want to just get him locked up because 3 safeties are important to Wink, and he's proving to be valuable to you. So granted, nobody's trying to break up the bank for Julian Love, but if you can just get him wrapped up as something that you're comfortable with, that makes sense for both sides. Just to do it, I think you absolutely try to get him locked up this week. And Dexter as well, because if he keeps playing the way he's been playing, his prices is going up.
No, right. You're 100%.
So
he's got to be Dex to me is priority one.
Yep. Let me get you right now. Week 8, wrap you up before you keep losing your mind all season, and then you think you're Leonard Williams coming the off season, and we're at that stalemate in a year that we had with Leonard.
Right, because if
you're not at a stalemate.
Leonard 1 year before when analytics showed
Mike.
that he was a monster, he just didn't have the sacks, he didn't have the numbers, but analytics wise was showing us, this guy's a problem. if we would have signed him then, we would have had just such a good contract. But he didn't sign him. He waited for him to have the big year, and we got cooked for it. We got a crazy bad contract.
Yeah, I also think that the setup is that Dexter Lawrence is going to ultimately become the focal point of the defensive line more so than Leonard Williams
We
is.
kick out Leonard.
And I think
you think
Leonard,
Leonard gets cut next? Yeah, I think Leonard gets cut next.
No.
this
He
offseason?
has
No.
his cap hit is too high.
he's owed too much money.
Mm.
He's owed too much money. I think Leonard's on the team next year.
Do we
But I
rework
think-
it? Do we rework that contract?
No,
somehow? We
I
leave
think
it
that
alone?
I think he's going to get left alone next year.
Okay.
I think they'll have enough money to operate and do what they want to do, where they're going to leave Leonard be, and then after that season is over next year, I think they're going to,
Manny,
move on.
I
from
still
Leonard.
don't want Love on this team. I'm gonna be honest. Like, if he gets that extension, it's gonna rub me the wrong way. But I respect it. I respect Shane because for me, Shane is batting 1,000 right now. So I'll take that L with Love.
Come on, man. You show the love, baby. Show the
yo,
love. What are you doing?
I hate the love. For real. I just don't think that he's a good player. All right. So let's move on from that real quick. Let's talk about the second half of the season. And before we talk about the second half of the season, give me, besides Saquon, right? Because I think we all agree Saquon is the MVP of this team so far. Do y'all agree with me on that? Okay, so besides Saquon, give me MVP, right? Besides Saquon, and give me most overrated, most underrated. Let's start off first with MVP besides Saquon.
That's fun. That's
Andrew
fun.
Thomas,
Andrew
right?
Thomas.
Andrew Thomas.
Andrew Thomas.
No,
I don't even
Andrew
think
Thomas, right?
You want a different answer, or we can all be in agreement?
We could all be in agreement.
Oh, you know what?
You gonna give us a different answer?
I'm not gonna go with Andrew Thomas.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go with Adoree.
I like it. I love it. As a matter of fact, I mean, this guy's not getting enough love. Absolutely.
Even though the answer is Andrew Thomas, but I'm gonna still give Adoree.
Adoree's right there. We'll give Adoree runner up.
Andrew
Yeah,
Thomas is
I
gonna
just
get
want to give him his
paid,
props, but it's
man.
clearly Andrew Thomas.
Yeah. Now you're absolutely right.
And mark my words now, because Andrew Thomas can't get extended yet because he's only in year 3.
Mm-hmm.
Come week 8 next year, or come next we get the
Guaranteed you'll see that
next
man.
year's bye week. They are going to break the bank for Andrew Thomas.
Mike, come
Break the
March,
bank.
whatever the hell the official start of the new league year is for 2023. I'm trying to lock that man up because I can negotiate. No, seriously, because think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
These guys, good teams stay good for as long as they do, and they're able to maintain their players because they lock them up early. You lock guys up when you see the potential. Year 3, I'm like even I don't care if I have that 5th year option on you. It's like
You're right,
in baseball
that's
terms.
exactly what they did to Allen and Buffalo.
Josh Allen, yeah, like it's like in baseball, like the Rays. They just signed. They called their top prospect. His name. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Does that apply in baseball in football too, though? You think or no?
Yes,
I know
it
exactly
does.
what you're talking about.
I'm gonna tell you why it does, right?
There's a lot of guys in the Braves and in Tampa Bay in the Devil Rays. They sign guys real early for big contracts
and avoid all of those years of arbitration. They get them at a discount. Yeah, you do it year 3 instead of having to say, all right, well, I have you under control for 4 years plus your 5th year option if I decide to take it up. Andrew Thomas has been the best offensive lineman in football this season, bar none. I don't need to wait. You number one, before I even get to that, right? Number one, you've progressed every single year you've been in the NFL. That's first and foremost. That's the most important thing to me. Number one, you're getting better every single season. Number 2, right now, you are the best offensive lineman in football. I don't need to wait till year 4 or 5 to see what I need to see. I'm trying to lock you in now because the money is going to keep getting higher every year. So I'm trying to lock you. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay,
and I'm telling you right.
So I think
I'm telling you right now.
He's gonna get signed at the start of the new league year.
let me explain something to you. I'm looking right now at the contracts, right?
For
For
offensive
offensive
tackle?
tackles, right? Andrew Thomas is 23 years old. Okay, he is 23 years old. You look at the guys that are getting paid in front of him, and the way he's playing, right? We're in agreement. He literally is playing like the best left tackle in football this year.
So
Correct?
he's
I
getting
think we're all in
Trent
agreement.
Williams.
Absolutely.
All right. So your top three guys
Right.
in terms of contracts are Trent Williams, who's 34,
Right.
David Bakhtiari, who's 31, Laramie Tunsil, who's 28, right?
Yeah.
Andrew Thomas Trent Williams' contract is $138 million with $45 million guaranteed. This dude is getting more money than Trent Williams. It's going to happen.
He's getting 60.
How do you
Like,
so Nuno? How do you make that contract work out for you if he's gonna be making quarterback money? How do you make that? Give me the baseball.
Look, his base salary per year, just to be clear, with Trent Williams. So Trent Williams this year, because of the way they have the contract structured, his base salary is $1.8 million. He's got a $7 million prorated bonus.
Is that what you're talking about, Nuno?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got He counts $9 million against this year's cap.
How do these guys get these contracts? Because their
because of the guaranteed money. You got 40. You got $40 million fully guaranteed off the rip.
You get that right day one. That's in your bank account.
That's his money. That's his money.
Okay.
Period.
So that's why you would be okay with something like this, where you're only getting paid 1.5 a year.
So he got $138 million contract is what he was given total. $138 million, and
Man, he said
the average
10-year deal.
and the average per year is $23 million. So Andrew Thomas is going to get probably close to $26 million a year on average. And based on his age as a player, like you're probably locking this. You could probably get a break. You could probably get a break on the salary a little bit if you sign him to like a 5-year deal. If you get meaning like if you sign him for 5 years,
you're only gonna sign him for 5 years. You don't think?
Hear me out. He will probably only accept a deal that's 5 because keep in mind, like
he's not done.
If he's 23 and you're paying me this money now,
you want Sue contract.
I want another bite at the apple at 28. Like I'm not signing up for a one contract deal because if you got Trent Williams getting paid what he's getting paid at 34, and Bakhtiari getting paid what he's getting paid at 31, I want another option.
I'm 31 or whatever, right?
I would suspect that Andrew Thomas is probably going to get about $25 million a year.
This is awesome.
You're probably looking at him getting about $140 million.
Zero said 10 years too.
Yeah, you're probably looking at him based on this. You're probably looking at about if I would guess, 150, 50 million guaranteed, and then they'll structure it out the rest of the way. I think that's where he's going to land. He'll be the highest offensive tackle paid in football. You'll have the cap space to do it because the following year, the Giants have very limited amount of players scheduled to be on the roster. And you're going to have very
what
cheap
Zero
contracts.
Said was a good point is, but you could always give him that extension and that rework before he becomes a free agent too, though, which is absolutely true.
Yeah, 100%. So I think you lock him up.
Is it possible to keep a player for the rest of his career in a team, or is that impossible now?
He wants to stay with you, sure.
Right. Okay.
It comes down to that. But if he's playing the way he's playing, he's going to be the highest paid offensive tackle in football.
Yeah. I
don't even think it's debatable. Right. Which then ties me back to the fact the Giants need a quarterback on a rookie deal.
Correct.
So everything that they need to do to lock up their existing players, you have as a fan, it's the same thing that happened with Seattle, right? Mm-hmm. Seattle had the Legion of Boom. The defense was outstanding, right? Mm-hmm. But Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round draft pick making peanuts, right? So that team around him was fucking stacked, right? That defense was stacked, and they all got paid big money. They were all getting paid, right? But Russ wasn't getting paid.
Right.
And what happens? The second the quarterback gets paid, it's a trade-off. The second those guys get paid, you have to start trimming other areas of your roster. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about like for the people that want to re-sign Jones, they want to re-sign Daniel, but they don't want to pay Daniel a franchise quarterback salary because they want to pay him. Oh, let me give him $20 million a year for the next 3 years, so that I could lock up all these other guys, thinking he's going to do the Tom Brady treatment and be like, yeah, you know what? I'll take less. Like, dude ain't going to take less money.
Right.
And if the argument is, well, nobody else on the market's going to pay him, me and Nunu talked about it, then why are we paying him? If nobody else wants to pay him, why should we pay him?
Vibes.
Right.
No, make no sense.
All right, let me go real quick, get some comments before we say who's the underrated. Um, Thoughts on Joe Shane saying? Oh, so Zero asks, do you think? Obviously, we heard what Joe Shane said about Odell. Is there any chance Odell comes to this team this year? I'm gonna go first. I'm
No.
gonna say hell no. Any Mike? Any thoughts on Odell? Do you think Shane brings Odell in this year?
No.
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 Right.
I think Odell is going to land in Buffalo.
I think he's in Buffalo.
I think right when we get towards the end, I think he's going to read the tea leaves. See who's got a legit opportunity to make a run for it in the Super Bowl. I mean, I'll name another place that I could see him sign, and nobody's going to want to.
Philly.
Dallas. Dallas was just trying to trade for Brandon Cooks. Like,
I think Odell cares too much about his image to go to another NFC East team, though.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, no.
I don't agree with that at all. I think first off, if he signs with Dallas, he doesn't have to play the Giants once. Most likely, if he signs in at the early December,
right.
He signs a contract with Dallas. He's never playing the Giants in that scenario.
Imagine they play him in the playoffs though, which is not possible because it have to be the second round, right?
Second round, they're both going to be wild cards, so it would have to be the championship game. No, it would have to be the championship game.
It would have to be the championship game, right? Yeah, that's not
right. So the likelihood of that is slim to none. But I would 100% see a team like Dallas making that move. The Eagles would definitely not hesitate to do it in a heartbeat. So I think you have to look at those teams: Dallas, Philly, Buffalo, right? Kansas City. Those are the teams.
Randy said it will hurt so badly to see OBJ in a Cowboys jersey. That would hurt everybody's feelings, I believe. Manny and Zero both pretty much saying like, you give Andrew Thomas a long-term contract, and in the middle of that contract, you just go ahead and re-extend them and keep making him the highest paid tackle.
Again,
over and over.
Long-term contract at most is going to be 5 years. If you're the player, you're not signing on for more than.
You're not going to fall into the trap, even if.
You're not going to fall into that.
Even if the GM is out here promising you bread and roses, at the end of the day, GMs get fired, and you can't get stuck on a really bad contract. That you would be a fool to fall for that. All right, let's go for underrated guys. Who wants to go first on underrated?
Yeah, Nunu.
Dang, see, Mike gonna think that's why he told me to go first.
Me too. Listen,
underrated.
Yeah. Do you want to go? You want me to go?
Go ahead. I'll go after you.
All right. I'm gonna play it nice and easy. I'm gonna say Jalen Smith is our underrated player.
Your obsession with the linebackers, you can't let it go.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say Adoree'. I'm gonna give it to Adoree', the underrated player. He's not getting enough.
All right, I got mine when y'all are ready for it.
All right, go ahead.
Mine, I'm gonna cheat. It's not one player. It's a position group.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give it to the DBs. Safeties and cornerbacks, all of them.
Nah, I like it, and it's the same thing kind of as Adoree'. We did not think at all that this secondary was going to be playing to this capacity. It's not great. There's a lot of things to improve about this team. Like these guys can't play press every down, and they're not man. Even Adoree' himself. Adoree' gives a lot of leeway to guys. He gives them their cushion. Adoree' gives respect to cornerbacks. To wide receivers in this league. But for whatever reason, they're doing enough. Mike, who's your underrated player for the team?
Jihad Ward.
Jihad Ward. Very good.
That's a
Jihad
good
Ward is
one.
That's a great one.
I just don't like his. I don't like his sack dance, so I'm not giving him no credit.
You don't like his sack
Yeah.
dance, you said?
I hate his sack celebrations. I hate
It
it.
can't be
Yeah.
worse than Dexter Lawrence's though.
You're right, because he twerks, but like I hate Jihad.
Yo.
The fact that my man still got the nickname Sexy Dexy.
Sexy Dexy, baby. Do your dance. Do your dance, Sexy Dexy.
regardless of that, I would say it's Jihad Ward. He's stepped in.
Yeah.
He's filled the role with Aziz being out. He's done an excellent job setting the edge.
Jihad is gonna get a contract, in my opinion. I think he's gonna.
He's been a very, very good,
He's
solid player
important
for
to the
this team
locker
that is
room.
being overlooked.
He's too important to the locker room.
Jihad
It's
Ward
crazy.
is playing himself into a comp pick for us.
It's another guy that may get an extension.
You think
Jihad
so?
Ward,
Even
no?
though it wouldn't be financially it wouldn't just be financial. It wouldn't be good financially for them to do it though. Like it wouldn't matter. Don't matter. Okay.
No, I think if there's guys that they could extend this year, that if they want to extend them and they could work something out now,
Yeah.
they'll go ahead and do it. If they've identified their guys they want to keep, they
If
can
the
make those moves.
analytics tell Joe Shane he's worth $3 million a year, and he signs for $3 million for three a year, he will absolutely do that. Yeah, I agree with that. OBJ might not even play this year, which is absolutely true. Tony is the most underrated. We got 2 draft picks for him. Yeah, Tony. Good riddance on Tony. We don't need to talk too much about Tony. Overrated guy.
Can I go
on the
first?
team. Go ahead. You can go first.
Listen, I got my answer. I gotta let it go. I'm gonna give that to number 8, Daniel Stephen Jones.
Yes. I don't think we all could disagree at all with that. That's a good one. Can I think of another one other than Jones? Mike, go. Do you have one? And then, or is it Jones for you too? And I'm gonna keep thinking about this.
I mean, look, we could think about it till we're blue in the face, right?
Yeah.
But when we talk about who's overrated, that's a guy that's playing well, or people perceive as playing well, but really isn't that good.
You
And-
know what?
And there is
it gotta
nobody
be
on the
Jones.
team other than
It gotta be Jones, yo. Because listen, I truly believe that the same amount of points, the same amount of the outcome would not change if Tyrod Taylor was on the field.
I mean,
sorry.
Think about this for a second. The Giants currently with this scheme, right? You're going to hear, well, we're missing these players, blah blah blah. But with this scheme and what these coaches have done, and you've looked at film and you see that he's not taking shots and spots are open where you can take the shot and he's not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But with this scheme, they're averaging 20 points per game offensively. That is a field goal better than what they averaged last year when Jones was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
They're averaging 1 field goal better, right? And we could sit here and we could go back and forth and say, well, if they got him, look at what Joe Burrow has. If we got him 3 receivers like that, okay, you're never going to see it. We could talk about it till we're blue in the face, and it's never going to happen, right? The offense is what it is, and it's Barkley driven. God forbid, Saquon gets hurt in the second half of the year.
Oh boy.
This
Oh, boy.
offense will be so bad.
Oh boy.
So bad. You will literally have fans with bags on their heads by the end of the year. Like it will be brutal.
Oh, it
Absolutely.
would get absolutely disgusting if Saquon goes down. God forbid. But yeah, man. That's crazy. But yeah, we do agree. It's definitely Daniel Jones, the overrated player, of this season. I'm not even gonna. I don't even want to jump into Seattle because I don't want to hold you hostage any longer. But let's do this. Let's talk about second half of the season. So let's first start off with record prediction and where we think the season is going to end for the Giants. Let's just do that quick broad view. How many games? No. How many games do you think the Giants win um, the second half of this season? And is there playoffs for this team? And if there is it one and done or what? In your opinion?
So, Mike is in the chat. I let off a hot take about a day or two ago
And if you need me
about
to
my.
mention you the schedule, remaining schedule.
No. I got it. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put it out there that this is just a hot take. I don't
Okay.
like.
Hot take.
I'm
Hot
not
take from Nunu right
fully.
now.
I don't fully believe this. Okay.
Okay.
This is like I'm not speaking with 100% conviction.
Okay.
But I think second half of the season, I'm gonna be a fake fan. I think we kind of bottom out.
Bottom out?
No, I don't. I'm not saying we're gonna just like fall to the wayside. But what I will say is this, right?
Okay.
Last week I said that I said, excuse me, I'm telling you, my brain are not working together. Last week I said that teams' offenses are going to improve. We're starting to see that teams are scoring more in the last couple weeks.
Yep. Okay.
Because of that, I think our defense will begin to struggle.
Okay.
We saw that this week.
They've already started struggling too, by the way.
We saw that last week in Seattle. I mean,
Yes.
that game could have been a lot worse if Tyler Lockett, got his foot down or had concentration. They could have easily hung about 40 on us. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Okay.
So because of that, I don't envision our offense improving much.
Okay.
I think this is who we are. And I think our defense will become who we originally thought they were going to be. So my hot take is we missed the playoffs. Don't, Antonio, I said I don't fully believe this.
Okay. That's a hot take. It's a really good one. Because I can also see that. 100% I can see that. I can honestly see that. Give me what you think is going to happen.
What I think is going to happen, I think we're going to make the playoffs. We're going to lose in the divisional round, probably to the Vikings.
Okay. Real quick, let me read you some teams. You tell me win, loss, okay? Texans.
We struggle coming out of the bar, so I'm going to say loss.
Loss.
Actually, give me a win. Give me a win. Give me a
Okay.
win. I'll take a win.
Win. Lions or Lions.
Loss.
Loss. Okay. Cowboys. Thanksgiving. Loss. Commanders first game.
We're at home that game, right?
Yes.
Win.
Okay. Eagles. At
Loss.
home. Loss. Commanders at their house.
Loss.
Okay. Vikings at their house.
Loss.
Okay. Colts at our house.
Win.
Okay. And then Eagles at their house.
Loss.
Okay. So we're gonna go 4-7, I believe. 4-7 or 4-6. The last 9 games. Mike, give me
4 and 5.
4 and 5.
4 and 5.
Okay, 4 and 5. Yeah, 9 games. Well, I'm bugging. Mike, give me your prediction for the rest of the season. And do we make the playoffs? And if so, what happens in the playoffs?
So I think we're going to make the playoffs. So I think we're going to squeak in and get the 7th wild card spot. I think that's where it's going to be. I think San Francisco is going to round into form, but especially with CMC in there now, I think they're getting in. I think Seattle's getting in. I think the Rams are going to be a difficult situation because they're going to probably start to get on a little bit of a roll as the season goes on, and I think they could make a little bit of a push down the stretch here where they could kind of get back in the mix. We do struggle out of the bye.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we should beat Houston. I really do feel like we should beat Houston.
We're gonna beat them.
Something in my gut just says
staff.
that. What's that?
It's a new coaching staff. We're gonna beat them.
Not that. It's not even that. I think coming out of the bye, it's hard to stay motivated after you get out of a rhythm.
Okay.
Right? So after you get a week off, yeah, guys are healthy, they come back. there's something about that. I'm just telling you, there's something about that game that just doesn't sit right with me where they're going to get overlooked. But I'll pick them to win it right now, but I'm not comfortable with it.
Okay, so you got us in the playoffs right now, and then
Yep.
we're gonna be one and done in the playoffs, right?
Yes.
Okay, so give me
Yes.
real quick predictions on the rest of the season.
We lose to Detroit,
Lose. Okay, so 1-1.
lose
Cowboys.
to Detroit, lose to Dallas.
1-2. Commanders at our house.
They're going to lose to Washington at home.
Okay, so 1-3. Eagles at our house.
They're going to lose to Philly.
1-4. Commanders in their house.
They'll beat them at that point in time.
2-4. Vikings at their house.
They'll lose to the Vikings.
2-5. Colts at their house. I mean, at our house.
Colts at our house.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll beat the Colts.
Okay, so 3-5, and then Giants at Eagles. We're gonna get swept by
We
the
will
Eagles,
lose
right?
that game to Philly.
Okay, so you got us at 3-6 for the rest of the year, and still squeaking into the playoffs with
9-8.
wins. 9 wins.
Yeah, I think 9-8, and it's going to come to. And that's if they get to 9.
We're gonna backpedal into the playoffs.
If they get to 9-8, I think the chances is this is the caveat to this, right? If they finish the year 9-8,
Right.
that game against Philly at the end of the year, right?
Right.
A lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, Philly's gonna have things locked up, and they're gonna want to rest players."
Philly's gonna try
I'm
to do
going to-
dirty stuff. And
I'm gonna say this
try to
until I'm
eliminate
blue in
us.
the face. If there is a remote chance
that they can eliminate.
that if
us.
the Giants lose that game to Philly, that the Giants could be knocked out of the playoffs,
They're playing everybody.
Philly is fucking playing that game.
Right.
I don't get they
even
even
if it's for half.
even if it's for a half,
Right.
they're playing that game, and Philly depth wise has enough depth that they
I
can
was about
still
to
beat
say
the
that.
Giants
I was about
with
to
their
say that.
backups.
In a half,
They
they
don't
can score
have to
28
play 'em.
points and just sit down everybody else.
Never mind just them scoring 28 points. The Eagles' backups,
Gardner Minshew
Alright.
giving us work.
You imagine
Could-
Gardner Minshew finishes that game and
100%.
eliminates us from the playoffs?
100%.
Mm.
The Eagle and trust me, the Eagles, like the rivalry between the Giants and the Eagles is unlike. Like I don't care what anybody says about the rivalry against Dallas,
Mhm.
right? Because people in New York they hate Dallas, and that's fine. I hate Dallas too.
Mhm.
There is not a team
I
in
hate
the
the
National
Eagles more.
Football League that I hate more than the Philadelphia Eagles.
Nah, I
I-
can't stand Eagles.
Can't stand
I
the
can't stand
fucking Eagles.
Yeah.
Okay, I hate. And what kills you from a rivalry perspective, the Giants had a massive lead on Philly in the head-to-head matchups, and over the last 10 years, because of poor management,
Scraped us. They
the
scraped
Eagles have surpassed us. They actually own the record
us. Yeah. they
over
scraped
us in head-to-head matchups. Like it is brutal how much I can't
we
stand
only
Philadelphia.
have head-to-head wise, we're only good against the Reds, the Washington team, whatever Commanders. I think then the Cowboys own us, and the Eagles own us in the head-to-head record for the.
So the funny part is the Eagles own us as of late because you won't. I don't know if you remember this, but like the Eagles at one point they made they had signed John Runyon back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And there was a Monday night football game, and they had been boasting about how John Runyon was going to be the guy to slow down Michael Strahan, right? The Giants entering that game against the Eagles had a 7 consecutive game winning streak against Philly. And then it all fell apart. And then the Eagles became the dominant team in the early 2000s with Andy Reid.
Yeah.
And the Giants could not fucking beat them. It was
No.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Could not beat them.
Andy Reid is the reason why I dislike the Eagles because nah man, T.O. and all those Vic is crazy. Nah man. Let me go ahead.
Keep in mind, Tampa's got an opportunity to get hot. You know, you look at their schedule.
I'll tell you this.
They got
much,
the
if
Rams
Giants
and the
get 9
Seahawks.
wins only. If they only end up with 9 wins, they're not making the playoffs. The Giants
Say that
don't-
again?
The Giants don't make the playoffs if they only have 9 wins, in my opinion.
I really don't see us win. I'm telling you that I don't think that the coaching staff will allow them to go on a massive skid
Yeah.
like what we had. You know, I don't think it's going to be brutal, but I could see a 3-game losing streak. And, I could see that. I could see a 2-game losing streak with the Lions and Dallas beating Washington the first go around, right? Because I don't think the coaching staff will allow them really to fall that far backwards,
Right.
but then dropping the next 3 because of the Viking game being in there before they bounce back again. Like, I don't think they're going to go on a complete tailspin like we had last year, where it was like every week was L after L after L after L. But I do think they're going to run into a little bit of a buzzsaw here, because keep in mind the teams that you're playing also have playoff aspirations, and as we get to the second half of the year, it will get ratcheted up a little bit more. Those teams will be a little bit more aggressive. Detroit and Houston notwithstanding, right? The Dallas game, Washington is still not out of the playoff picture
At all.
right?
They're desperate.
So Washington's still not out of the playoff picture. The Vikings, right? Even the Colts are not fully out of it yet. Like, you're going to play some really difficult games in the second half of the year, where we're going to need to score points.
Right.
And we still don't have the ability to score points. And to the fans that are going to go, well, this is why we needed a wide receiver. I think your GM knew that even if they brought in a wide receiver, it wasn't going to impact that much more in terms of putting points on the board. That's going to give them a better opportunity against these teams coming up in the second half.
I gotcha. All right, so I'm gonna go real quick and say first I'm gonna go with the schedule, and then I'll talk about the playoffs. I got us beating Texans and the Lions. All right, so I got them at 2-0. I got us. I can't. I won't even believe that. I got us losing to the Cowboys. So I got us at 2-1. I got us beating the Commanders. So that's 3-1. I got us losing to the Eagles. That's 3-2. I got us losing to the Commanders. So that's 3-3. I got us losing to the Vikings. So that's 3-4. I got us winning the Colts. So that's 4-3. Why am I missing a game?
That's 4-4.
Okay,
4-4.
And then I got us losing to the Vikings. I mean, to the Eagles for the last game of the season. So that's 4-5. So I got us a 4-5 record. Gets us into the playoffs pretty safely. And in the playoffs, depending on who we play, we might get out of the first round, actually. So I think we get out of the first round in the playoffs, and then after that, it's pretty much wraps.
Listen, if they make the playoffs, if they're the 7th seed, they're fucked.
Right.
I'm just telling you, if they're the 7th seed, they're fucked.
I think we finish as a 6th seed, though. I think we finish as a 6th seed. I think we might even finish as the 5th seed, to be honest.
If they you think they're going to finish ahead of Dallas? There's no way they're finishing ahead of Dallas.
If they're head to head with Dallas, no.
Yeah, they're not going to finish ahead of Dallas. They're either going to be the 7 or the 6. If they're the 7, they're going to be at Minnesota, and if they're the 6, they're going to be at Seattle again, right?
Or at San Francisco.
Or where?
Or at San Francisco.
Or at San Francisco if San Francisco comes back to win that division. So, and I don't think Seattle's going to hold on to that division. So, you realistically, their only hope is the 5, because then you're playing the worst division winner, which right now would be Atlanta, right? Would be paced to be Atlanta. So that would be where you would want it to be.
Let's say, for example, Tampa comes back for how, I don't know how, but it's because I think they're only 1 game back. If Tampa comes back, do we have a chance against Tampa in the first round or no? What do you guys think?
I mean, I would like to say yes to Tampa's defense. I'm going to say no. If Tampa gets on a streak like that, I don't see it. I don't see it.
No.
Now,
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
Not because I believe in the team, but because Giselle's not doing black magic for Tom anymore. So
yo, it's so funny.
The devil's not on his side anymore.
My
So
fiance was telling me about that. Like, you know, she's a witch, and she showed me a video of Giselle, of Tom talking about Giselle and the witchcraft that she would be doing to like help him with the Super Bowl and stuff, whatever.
She put that black magic on him before.
Now she put the jinx on
now
him.
Now
right?
it's on him.
That's
like,
crazy.
all right, you don't want to help me raise these kids? Got something for you.
All right. Mike, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Final thoughts. Enjoy the bye week. Right? We don't have to be stressed out or argue.
Is spooky season after this? Oh, that's gonna continue. You know that's gonna continue.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying we don't have to. We don't have to argue. Um, I'll be at the Houston game. I'm finally going to be able to make it out to a game this year,
Nice.
with despite all the other nonsense that I've had going on this year. So I'll be at the Houston game. Um, we'll see how it plays out. I mean, I'm sure the fans are going to be pretty excited to be there, so I'm looking forward to it.
You know what? I'm trying to
Coming up,
make that game, Mike. Man, I'm trying to make that game right there, that Houston game, then, man.
yeah, I'm going to be at the. I'll be at Houston. I'll be at Detroit. I'll be at the Colts game. I'll be at the Eagles game. Though I'll be at those.
I'll definitely try to catch Houston because I definitely don't like going to the stadium when it's like brick out there. So Houston sounds good. Nunu, any last thoughts for you?
I got a couple. Number one, shout out to Anthony Richardson.
Hmm.
That's the most important one.
Lit.
Number two, pay Saquon Barkley.
You want to see
Number
him sign
three.
on Monday?
I don't care if we sign him on Monday, because I'm comfortable. I'm confident in saying even if we don't, he'll get the franchise tag. So I don't care one way or another. Number three, don't pay Daniel Jones. And number four, man, shout out to Brian Dable, best fat man in New York since Biggie.
Absolutely. 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 Yo, so I want to thank everybody that came through the chat. Randy, my co-host Manny, my co-host Sal, Zero, Mackie, all you guys. Absolutely appreciate you guys being with us the entire time. Um, Mike, real quick, give me your Twitter handle real quick.
Like you said, 66.
No, give me your Twitter handle real quick.
Easily Nunu, easily spelled with a Z.
Alrighty, and you can find me on Twitter, BT Giants. Thank you so much, guys. Big show next week before Houston. We're gonna have a 5-man crew. If these two want to jump in, they're absolutely welcome. And we're gonna have Manny making his comeback. So I'm excited for that. And hopefully Sal has a place so he could join us. But if not, no worries, Sal. We'll see you down the line. But for these two in the show with me, I'm Antonio, man. Have a great one, guys. And peace out.